All right, greetings and welcome. Tonight's Wednesday, December 10th, Parks and Recreation Commission agenda. We're going to start off with roll call. I'm Calder Young, sitting in for Ben Barron. We'll start over on the left.
Rebecca Campion, present.
Kelly Phillips.
David High.
Glenn Davis, present.
And do we have anybody online?
Hi, this is Shay Bright Mute, present.
Welcome, Shay.
Hello, thank you.
You got it. We'll start with the approval of minutes from October 8th, 2025.
I will move to approve. I actually read them.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. The Parks and Recreation Commission and mission and vision. The mission statement, the Parks and Recreation Commission serves as an advisory board to City Council to promote and enhance the quality of life by offering a broad range of safe and accessible resources, including parks, open space, trails, recreational services, and facilities which invite all to explore, play, learn, and preserve. The vision of Parks and Recreation Commission is committed to identify, advocate, and provide high quality and sustainable recreation, open spaces, and cultural amenities for all citizens and visitors by balancing the need to maintain and preserve the resources entrusted to us. That'll bring us to commissioner updates. And before we do that, I'm going to just kind of share what the agenda is tonight. Tonight we have the West Steamboat Trail project update that's scheduled for 15 minutes, and then the 2026 budget and no, that's from the minutes. Is that right?
Nope,
Yeah.
that was from the previous meeting.
Oh my gosh, do I have the wrong one open?
I'll help you out. Tonight, we'll have a recreation program update for about 20 minutes, followed by the Emerald Park space use alterations and discussion update scheduled for 30 minutes.
And we should probably correct the date on the minutes that we just approved as well too.
The minutes you're looking to approve are from November 12th, 2025.
Okay. I will open the correct date. We'll stick with the agenda here because it's pretty, we'll go with commissioner updates. Okay.
Yeah, I understood we just had the first subcommittee meeting of that e-bike safety. I'd love to see if we, came up with anything or what was talked about.
It is in detail in the minutes. There was a very long summary in it, and it would be probably a disservice to everyone here to go over everything because it was probably
I'll just read the minutes then. That's fine.
Perfect.
Commissioner High, are you referencing to the subcommittee meeting minutes? Was there a summary sent out after the fact?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was speaking to the work session, not the work session. I missed the work session. I did.
For staff, was a meeting summary provided? If so, can we share it with the commission? If not, could we get a quick verbal update? Thank you.
Good evening, Drew Pickle, Deputy Director Recreation. Sent out the notes from our meeting yesterday with the subcommittee. There are some non-commissioners on there as well. So everybody that participated received those notes and included Commissioner High. Summary was really kind of narrowing the scope of how are we going to do outreach and education, and then came up with a few ideas for some larger functions that could include working with the community service officers. So the idea centered around either going free concert series where we could have really good reach, maybe even put up a tent and do some outreach there, but also really focus most of our attention on users along the core trail as they interface busy intersections. A good example would be in front of the rodeo at 5th Street or further down towards to Mount Warner and the crossing there. So the group had a long discussion about a lot of different topics. The goal we have now is let's focus in on what we can accomplish, and I'll be happy to forward those notes to all the commissioners on the board. Any questions?
I apologize. I don't have anything in my.
I think you can view the meeting online as well too. Oh, that was the.
No,
That's right. Okay.
subcommittees we don't record or publish
If you
minutes, but
would like, we can include all the commissioners on the invite, and there will be a Teams link for each of those meetings.
we can't legally do that. Otherwise, it becomes a public meeting, but we are happy to send out that meeting summary.
All right, fair enough. I'll get that forwarded to you in the morning.
Yeah, I didn't mean for this to become a whole big thing. I just was wondering what we talked about.
No, you appropriately got some good questions.
Okay, continuing with commissioner updates. I witnessed the first session, or actually third session of Intro to Hockey. There was tons of kids there. It was really cool to see all the kids out on the ice skating around, playing with balloons. I think there's like 500 kids in the program. It was really, really cool to see. And I had thoroughly enjoyed myself.
There's been some fat bike grooming up on Emerald. And so we are, yeah, it's been interesting because there's been a tremendous amount of use with not a lot of snow. And so working a little bit on trying to create some separation from some users, from hikers, from fat bikers and uphill skiers and that kind of stuff. So that's on the Route County Riders side.
It is a fat biking season this year.
Absolutely.
I attended the Botanic Gardens and soccer collaboration meeting on expansion of the Botanic Gardens into Emerald Park. We actually have another meeting tomorrow as well. Looks like a pretty positive project that's going to go through. That's going to expand the Botanic Gardens for the public. And then I've had a couple questions from general public about the ice rink and the second sheet of ice. And I was wondering maybe we can get just a 10,000-foot view of kind of where we are with the second sheet. I know recently, I think we've had some, but just the details would be helpful to get the correct information out to some folks.
Yeah. Drew, you want me to tackle this one or do you want to? It's Drew's birthday. I'll tackle it.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. So City Council in the 2026 budget allocated $2 million of city capital improvement funding towards the second sheet. The second ice rink users between the skating program and hockey programs have verbally pledged $4 million in donations from some of their constituents towards. So the city's currently looking at $6 million, $4 million of which we do not have in the bank yet. We've had 2 negotiating meetings with all of those interested parties, as well as a good amount of city staff to form a fundraising agreement and construction management agreement for the second sheet. In my almost 8 years here, this would be the 3rd agreement we're looking at with, but this is the first time there's hard funds committed. So we're hoping that continues to go smoothly, and we'll be bringing it forth updates to Parks and Rec Commission and City Council as we start getting them.
Okay.
Yep.
Outstanding.
If everything goes smoothly, do we know like a completion date or groundbreaking date?
Oh, we don't.
Okay.
I'm confident we wouldn't see any construction in the next 12 months. There will be a good amount of planning, design work, applications, and then potentially construction starting in 27, 28. But that really, we're a few key steps away from being able to provide that type of information.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no other commissioner updates, tonight's agenda items are recreation program update and Emerald Park space use alterations update and discussion. Before we get into that, we're going to do public comment, and this is for any items that are not on tonight's agenda. The Park and Recreation Commission will make no decision nor take action except to advise the appropriate party. Those addressing Parks and Recreation Commission are requested to identify themselves by name and address, and all comments shall not exceed 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment tonight? Come on up.
Hello, Council. I'm John Schaefer, 586 Forest View Drive. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of Route County Nordic Ski Association. So in the interest of time, myself and a couple other engaged people are going to speak, but we have a number of other people attending, showing support. So if I could have everyone stand up who's with the Nordic Ski. So lots of different perspectives, and we certainly want to be respectful of everyone's time. So only a couple more people are going to speak to share their viewpoint on a couple issues. So first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you. This started maybe 3 or 4 years ago when we had Essie, Jim Mitchner, a couple other people come to council talking about the state of grooming at Howelson Hill with some, I think, constructive suggestions. This council was very receptive. The city, the Parks and Rec has continued to be a great partner in this. So I think it's just an excellent example of the system working. And we really appreciate everything that everyone has done and the way the communities come together. Secondly, sort of pursuant to that point, one of our agenda items last year at this time was we wanted the permission to work with Brad's team down at Parks and Rec to do some early season snowmobile grooming to help prep the trails. One, get people on snow sooner. Two, to get the city cats on snow sooner. And that has worked incredibly well. So much so, David Norris has some feedback from a couple other interested users, but it's become clear to us that this is not just an early season situation, rather a low snow situation. So, the old adage, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We just happen to have this coming about at a time when it turned out to be very, very useful. We're probably on snow at house in maybe a month sooner, thanks to all these efforts. So we have some ideas. We've been talking with Routt County riders and a couple other stakeholders about how we can cooperate even further with the city staff, with our team, Routt County and other interested groups about some light land work. We did a walkthrough last summer and thought it would be something that we would perhaps revisit next summer. I think given the fact that we've had a very, very successful early season grooming, we all realize we can do a lot more with relatively simple mitigation. And then the second thing is we'd like to come back to you in probably June, depending on your feedback, with a more comprehensive plan that involves all the relevant users in that area about not only potential, light land use, but also there's talk of how we can all use that time and space more effectively. And I think we have some great ideas on how to do that. And last point very quickly is one of the things that's become very apparent in this process is this is just not, as Brad Piskey calls them, the lungs and lycra crowd. There are a lot of people, which is why we have a diverse group here tonight, who use these facilities. And I think we may have not done a very good job in the past expressing to this group and to City Council just how important a facility this is and can be. So thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you so much. Any other public comment tonight? Yeah. Okay.
Hello, I'm Gunnar Gilbertson from 645 Amethyst Drive, and I'll just pretty much pick up where John Schaefer left off in terms of the diverse amount of people that are using the trails at Howelson Hill. I'm an elite athlete for the Nordic Combined USA team. I travel the world competing, representing the US and Steamboat Springs and Nordic Combined. And because of that, I spend a lot of time and a lot of hours at Howelson Hill skiing on the trails. So I get a pretty good perspective on seeing how many people are out and about and what kind of people they are. There's obviously, as to some of the people that are more commonly known to ski the trails, which is the Winter Sports Club or more dedicated lungs and lycra athletes. But this year, I've especially seen more and more people coming out and learning to ski and trying it for the first time. And it's been really awesome seeing the newcomers along with the well-experienced people being able to stand side by side, sharing words of encouragement, just saying hello, and also just catching up over our increasingly busy world. I think it's been really valuable seeing how much our early efforts in collaboration with you guys has helped get us on snow earlier and open up more terrain. It's been phenomenal being up there. Yesterday I was up skiing and there was some U12 athletes, some people learning how to ski, and myself included. So I just want to say thank you very much for your help, and I really look forward to a more cooperative and inclusive partnership. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Gunnar. Appreciate you sharing your experiences.
Hi, everyone. I'm Essi Kenttälä, 330 Blackberry Lane. I'm a Howelson Hill Nordic ambassador and mother of 2 Nordic Combined athletes, and the person who tells everyone to try cross-country skiing. It is the healthiest winter sport ever. So thank you for all what you have been doing and supporting in Steamboat. We have made a nice progress together. And so let's keep this great momentum and make things even better in the future. Our goal is to keep making more smart improvements that support grooming, efficiency, access, and long-term sustainability. And they will really benefit everyone and get more people more excited about cross-country skiing. And we are talking about large, quiet, modest, hardworking people of our community who want to have accessible, affordable, and winter activity. And so we can keep also the Karlhausen alive in this town, the legacy of him. So I'm from Finland, and one of the Nordic countries where the basic word of skiing always means cross-country skiing, because it is considered essential infrastructure for public health, cardiovascular health, brain health, productivity, and quality of life. People in Nordic countries literally cross-country ski until they die. So you never have to wonder over there how grooming is for today, because it's prioritized for citizens. Steamboat is known for healthy-minded, active people also, and kids whose dreams are even in Olympics. So hopefully we don't have to wonder here how grooming is today. So let's make sure Steamboat people can stay active all winter, especially as downhill skiing becomes more crowded and expensive. And Nordic skiing lets people earn their downhills. And that's a wonderful mentality for life. That's why I taught my kids cross-country ski first. So we really have an opportunity to stand out among ski towns by honoring Steamboat's heritage sports, Nordic skiing, Nordic combine, and ski jumping, and House and Hill. And as an ambassador for House and Hill, I see families, kids, first-timers, and even World Cup skiers. I love sharing this place, but I have to be honest. There are days I feel uncomfortable asking people to buy day passes when conditions aren't reliable. That shouldn't be the case in Ski Town, USA. We are more than downhilling. That's our heritage. My kids are Nordic combined World Cup athletes, and there are times they hesitate to come home from overseas because they can't always count on conditions. House and Hill is the closest to their heart. They grew up here through the Nordic program in a winter sport club. Reliable, complete grooming isn't a luxury. It's an investment in health, heritage, and community. Thanks for listening and continue to work with us. And as a side note, please watch Nordic Combine in the coming Olympics because we want to keep this sport in the Olympics. Last World Cup, we had 2 Steamboat female in top 10. So you can only imagine if that would be Olympics for them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, floor is open.
David Norris, 186 Maple Street. To be in line with what they're saying, I just wanted to publicly thank Parkins and Rec for working with us to make the volunteer grooming possible. And also, like they've kind of already done, educate the commissioners on the fact that we did meet with Parks and Rec. And between them and Winter Sports Club, we were able to get volunteer grooming at House and Hill for the first time this fall. And it's nice to see that it benefited more than just the Winter Sports Club. We have over 100 adults signed up for the adult ski kind of clinic lessons, Tuesdays and Thursdays at lunch hour. And it's also benefiting the Steamboat High School ski team. And Katie Lindquist provided me a letter that she wanted me to read because she couldn't make it here because she's coaching those kids right now. Some of the quotes from her letter says, in a season with exceptionally low snow with many other areas were unable to open, House and Hill remained skiable. That access made a meaningful difference for our student athletes. She went on to say, I also want to thank you for partnering with the volunteers who performed snowmobile grooming at House and Hill. That collaboration was essential and it reflects a shared commitment to keep Nordic skiing accessible to our community, even when challenging conditions exist. And then, like John said, she says, one clarification I'd like to share is that while our original intention was described as early season grooming, this winter demonstrates that the work is better described as low snow grooming. And along with saying thank you, I just want to also keep this open line of communication with you all as we pitch more ideas to improve skiing, grooming, and accessibility to our community. So thank you.
Thanks, David. Okay, next comment. Okay, I'm not seeing any more in the audience. Let's take a look online. Not seeing any hands raised. If you're online and you have a public comment, now is your time. Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to our discussion item or items. The first item tonight is recreation program update. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate all the engagement,
Thank you.
cooperation. Fantastic. All right.
Yes.
Yes. Excuse me.
Can I ask a question, Angela? If we have comments about like the public comment that's not on the agenda items, like when should we address that?
Good question. It is generally best practice not to address it
Yeah.
during public comment because sometimes the commission might not want to, and if we're in the
Yeah.
practice of regularly doing it. That said, the best time would probably be commissioner updates or towards the end of the meeting. But if you want any type of follow-up questions,
I just had a question for them when they come back. So should I just address it like offline?
yeah, like I'm wondering if our minds were working similarly. Are you wondering when there will be a formal presentation to Parks and Rec Commission?
Yes. And I'm wondering if I could submit a question ahead of time for them to answer that they don't have to go back and find the answer after.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Feel free to send your
Okay.
question to Tara and I, and we'll work to get it answered. And
Okay.
we'll probably coordinate with that group too to have a more formal update, maybe towards the end of the season or spring.
Fantastic. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Wolf. I'm the recreation manager here at the City of Steamboat Springs. And I'm here with Oliver Paget. He's our recreation supervisor over youth programs. And we're going to go through a little bit of information about what we did in 2025 and then what we're going to be planning for 2026. That didn't work.
Sometimes there's just a delay.
Is it just a delay? Go back first. Okay. The first thing we always want to go over with you is our cost recovery model for all of our Parks and Rec programs. You'll see there in the third or the middle kind of section is the youth program area, which is required to fall within that 25 to 50% category of cost recovery. And then our athletic programs are up in that next tier in that 50 to 80% cost recovery. The youth programs right now is falling well within that area. Our athletic programs are a little bit low, so we're working on a multi-year plan to try to kind of raise that back up into that 50 to 80% area. And then I would also like to point out kind of within youth programs itself, there's a couple of different ways that we delineate some of our programs. For example, therapeutic recreation, which is providing one-on-one aids for students with special needs, would fall within that 0 to 10% category separately. But as a whole, the youth program division falls within that 20 to 50%. I'm going to hand it over to Oliver to start talking about some of our youth programs.
Okay, hello. I hope it's appropriate. I'm going to wear this hat.
All right.
So our youth programs, the way that we are splitting up our year is we have our summer programs and we have our school year programs. Right now, we're in the middle of our third session of our 4-session school year. The way that we're laying things out is that we have our school year budget and our summer budget. So with the school year programs, we're primarily running our after-school action program, various school days off. These are days where kids are out of school. They come to us for full days. We're running different asset clubs, kids' night outs, community events. And the way that we're staffing this right now is we have 3.5 coordinators. We split a full-time coordinator with athletics. So that's our half of a coordinator. And then we have about 10 to 11 seasonal group leaders that are helping staff our school year program. And these are largely high school, college age folks. And then for our summer, these are the Adventure Bound camps. We run these for 9 weeks. And these include theme camps, fun Fridays, at least one camp out. We try to sprinkle in some community events throughout that time period. And then we're staffing that with three of our full-time coordinators and up to 19 seasonal group leaders. And then we'll hire an additional 3 camp directors. Those come into play in our Adventure Bound summer camp. So this is where we are looking at our like typical day camp structure. The Adventurers, Explorers, and Mountaineers are the three camps that we're running out of Soda Creek and out of the Howelson Ice Arena. The Adventurers camps are Rising Kindergartners Camp, Explorers, Rising 1st to 2nd graders, and Mountaineers, Rising 3rd to 5th graders. This coming year, we're going to have 40 kids in both Explorers and Mountaineers, 24 in the Adventurers camp. Each will have a director and then a set of seasonal group leaders to rotate through all the camps and fill up those space. Each day looks pretty similar for the day camp kiddos. They show up, they have time to play and mingle. They all get a snack from us. They all get time outside on the playgrounds. We always incorporate art, STEM, and gym projects. They do have to provide their own lunch, but we take them on field trips somewhere every day. So that's any of the options you can kind of imagine with community partners that tend to work with youth. We are typically involved in getting the kids plugged in around the community through those daytime camps. In addition to the day camps, we're also running 3 theme camps per week throughout this summer period. These are the more specialized activity-focused camps. They can range from craft-focused to adventure rec-focused. Some of the pictures you see up there from some of the camps this year, we had an Adventure Summit camp. I believe that's top left. You might see the kids sliding down on their raincoats, which was fun. We had some river fun camps. We had a camp out of Rocky Mountain National Park. We did some adventure-based first aid. That's just some of the examples of things we do. We max these camps out at 13 kids per camp. Each camp gets 1 director. Typically, these are our full-time coordinators. And then we'll give them 1 additional group leader. And then I just included that there's at least 1 camp out within that time period. The theme camps do typically cost a bit more than our daytime camps. So these are great revenue generators for our programs. In addition to the Monday to Thursday camps that we are running, we're also including Fun Fridays. So our day-to-day, Monday to Thursday, is 8 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. These are pretty full days. It stacks up the week. And then we try to add 1 more day, expand the range and opportunities for other kids on Fridays. A lot of the examples of things you see on here are both like within the kind of greater northwestern area of Colorado and also some local things. But we've taken kids out to the Fulford Caves, climbing out at Camp Hale. We did some llama hikes this summer. We'll go biking in Breckenridge, or we'll go to other bike parks. And we'll see, our search and rescue shows up for some things, and that's our summer. So into the school year programs, primarily we're running after school action and those school days off programs out of Soda Creek Elementary. We are providing transportation from Sleeping Giant School and Strawberry Park, and we're bringing groups of kids over every day to join the collective over there. That is a Monday to Friday program. It doesn't start until 3 p.m. when the kids get out of school, and that will run until 5:45. But in addition to the just the daytime aftercare, we're also providing 2 to 3 clubs per day. And this is an hour of dedicated time kids can opt into and get themselves into another activity separate from what's going on in the generic after-school program. Some of the examples we've seen this year and coming into this last session were archery, we do Spanish, we take kids to gymnastics, they do the Learn to Skate program, climbing, embroidery, Lego club, you name it. There's an idea for it, and we try to get to it. Those school days off programs that you heard me mention, those are largely taking place when school's out of session. Teacher holidays, sometimes just general holidays for the public. But those are run mostly like the day camps that I mentioned for the summer. So you'll see a lot of those days taking place with your typical art STEM gym activities and a field trip. And then once a month, we try to provide a kids' night out. So it's more of a parents' night out, and we just take the kids. And they come to us, and we'll watch them for an extra 3 hours. And we try to incorporate all sorts of activities, movies, snacks with them as well. Of the community programs our team has been working on over the last year or so, we do an avalanche rescue and preparedness class for the public. This is a partnership with Search and Rescue. They come provide all of the in-person coordination and information. It's a good way to get to understand their operation and what that looks like in a rescue situation. This past year, we worked with Chelsea Holmes and Queer Futures to do Pride and POW, which was a ski-free Sunday. We worked with the Howison crew and just celebrated love out on the hill, which was awesome. We do our Touch a Truck event at the end of the summer season. And that's a great one for a lot of the other youth programs in town to come and participate, intermingle, see a helicopter land, pretty good time, honk some horns. One of our coordinators is working on a craft extravaganza she does every winter and is expanding this into the spring. And so these are just great in-person classes to do specific crafts and scratch that itch. And then we just put on a Jingle 5K series with our newest coordinator, Haley, who just led groups of people and a bunch of jingle lights on various 5K runs around town before the holidays. So just a fun, free way to get people out and about. For our recap for this year, these are some of the numbers that we were looking at for school year, summer, and then the clubs and then the theme camps. So you can see for the school year, we're doing about 250 youth from time the program starts until May. First time youth, there's about 55. That's probably mostly kindergarten age kids, I would assume. And very rarely will you see any non-resident because that's primarily a resident focused after school program. In the summer, we saw 259 kids, 78 were first timers, 7 were non-residents. You can see our average costs are quite different between the school year and the summer. And then our clubs, we see 97 total youth for the clubs in the school year and then 128 for the theme camps in the summer. And again, with the theme camps, we saw 5 non-resident, but our clubs and our camps and our programs are generally filling up with residents before we're opening up spots to non-residents. At the end of the year, our school year expenses are around $403,000 with 192-ish in revenue, so giving us a 47.7% cost recovery. And then our summer camps were 291-ish, and the revenue was 158-ish with 54.2%. For the 2026-27 year, our staff discussed expanding the theme camps. They enjoy those activities, expanding some of the ages and capacities that we're holding, and simplifying some of the transportation logistics, utilizing more of our vans and local resources. And then within the school year, we've used our existing staff this year to expand their responsibilities to increase our enrollment, which has been really exciting. And that has also allowed us to expand some of the community program opportunities, as you saw as well. And this is just a list. On the left is all the required certificates that our staff has to have before they can work in our programs. So whether they are in high school or in college, as a state licensed program, we are required to have all of these components ahead of time. So this is a pre-hire set of requirements. And then on the right, these are more of our optional certifications that have helped to enhance our programs, either in quality or in safety. And that's it for school year.
Thank you so much.
So our recreation supervisor, Austin Kaganen, who runs our athletic program, is right now at a week-long training in West Virginia for event management. So that's why he is not here today, and I am taking on his role. So to kind of go through our summer programs, the main ones that we have are our Town Challenge mountain bike race series. We have multiple volleyball leagues, softball leagues, and then in 2025, this year, we had our first Town Challenge River Race series. We'll talk a little bit more about that. During the fall and winter, we run a kickball league. Pickleball league is about to start in a few weeks, so if you want to take a look at that and register for a new pickleball league. We also offer drop-in volleyball and indoor volleyball, and then grass volleyball is offered in the fall. You see volleyball up there a lot. You will notice those programs are very, very full and expanding, and we are limited on our volleyball participation just based on the number of courts we have. So that's a huge desire for the athletic group here in this town, is to get more volleyball courts if possible. As far as staffing the athletic programs, we do have our recreation supervisor, Austin. Oliver mentioned they have a recreation coordinator. He spends most of his summertime working in athletics, and during the school year, he's doing both athletics and youth programs. We do hire a seasonal softball league coordinator and softball umpires to help manage that program. And then we have staff and volunteers who help work at our Town Challenge events. These are some of the numbers of those summer league participants. So we do have 3 different softball leagues and levels of play there. And then we have 5 volleyball leagues that are listed for summer. That does not include any of the fall or winter leagues there. But you can see we have over 400 softball participants throughout the year and 300 volleyball participants during the summer. So these are very, very well attended and very well desired. These are just some pictures of all of our wonderful sports that we're having and some of our championship groups. A few years ago, we did a overhaul maintenance project at the volleyball courts, and we redid the lights and we redid the area, and it's been really well received. Those lights are now a lot more efficient with being separated from the tennis courts, so you can light them separately and you can manage them on site while you're there. The Town Challenge River Race Series was the new series we introduced in 2025. It consisted of 3 races, starting with the Yampa River Sprint. Second race was a challenge course, which included some obstacles placed in the river that people had to navigate through. And then the town run went from, I believe, Fetcher Park through down to the library. I look back at Oliver because he was instrumental in getting this river race series put together. He's one of our river rats here locally and has been a great resource for us to get this one started. We had some great participation in this event. And as a pilot program, what we discovered is that we do have space to add more people. We wanted to really see if the program was desired by the public, and also could we do it safely with a limited number of groups. And we discovered that yes, it was desired, and yes, it could be done safely. So we're going to expand that and allow for some more people to enroll for that in 2026. These are some pictures of the different groups that we had out there on the water. I am not a river person, but this is the happiest group of people I've ever come in contact with. I will suggest come by and swing by for one of these races. It was disgusting rain, sleet, cold, and they were all raring to go. It was incredible. Town Challenge Bike Race Series has been around for over 30 years now. This race series includes 5 races. We do a kickoff party before the race series starts. In the fall, we've started now partnering with the Winter Sports Club to do an Emerald Mountain Scramble as part of the kickoff to this race series. Sorry, that's for the fall. I got that a little wrong. I'll come back to that. So we do our kickoff party, we have our 5 races, and then we have a community race at the end. This year in 2025, we were not able to do the Cow Creek Classic. It was canceled because of the smoke during that time. But you can see our participation is pretty steady, between 106 to 160 participants for each race. Different pictures of some of our racers doing their downhill. And then we have our ski ascent, Town Challenge ski ascent series. So this is uphill skiing, including boot packs, ski mountaineering, and is one of the sports that is included in the Olympics this year. So we expect a lot more interest to come for this series. This is the one that actually will now begin with the Emerald Mountain Scramble at the beginning of the season as a partnership with Winter Sports Club. We've had one race already, and our next race is next week on Wednesday, Mount Warner Madness. We are hoping for good snow conditions. We'll adjust appropriately as the time gets closer. These are some of the pictures of the ski ascent racers. We do offer a foot race for that last community uphill. So that's what that picture is on the left. We do have foot race options during the summer in our Town Challenge mountain bike race series as well. So some of the changes and challenges that we've had in athletics that we've tried to address. We're introducing some indoor volleyball tournaments during the winter and that Jingle 5K that Oliver mentioned as well, trying to get more people out there just running and being active. The challenges that athletics face, the available fields, the available volleyball courts, and then limited access to space at the school district facilities. Before we get into questions, one thing I want to mention about all of the recreation programs is that we are inclusive. So specifically for our after school and summer camp programs, we work closely with a lot of other organizations in town. We provide one-on-one aids for children who have special needs, and we include them in all of those school year and summer programs. And in addition to that, we do offer scholarships that are funded through the city for both school year and summer. And as a licensed childcare program for school-age youth, we do have access to the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, also known as CCAP. So that's state and federal funding that comes through for tuition assistance that's run through First Impressions of Routt County. So there is an application process for that, but we do include those scholarship opportunities and tuition assistance opportunities for any community member who wants it or who qualifies. With that, we'll open it up to questions.
I just had a question that is relating to accessibility. Do you guys give priority in, I'm assuming that it probably sells out quickly for your guys' summer programming. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Do you guys give priority to kids and families who haven't participated before, or is it just a free for all?
There's no priority for new participants.
Okay, just for people who qualify for the programs that you previously mentioned.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
How many people how many people are applying typically to get into the program? I think it's 250 is what is your limit on?
That was our total enrollment. So they're signing up week by week.
Okay.
So it could be a different group of people every week. So that 250 was kind of a combined number, all the different users throughout the whole summer.
Would you say that I'm trying to figure out what is the difference between demand and capacity, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out.
Our demand is higher than our capacity, but hopefully with these new options that we're bringing in for this summer, we're hoping to kind of even that out.
Do you have,
We were waitlisted for most weeks last summer.
how much waitlisting did you have to generally, how much more demand was there than capacity is what I'm trying to figure out.
Our enrollment maximum numbers are going to be different. I think last summer, did we have 32?
Last summer, our enrollment maximums, last summer, our enrollment maximums for our camps were at 40 each. We didn't include a kindergarten specific camp. So they were combined with up to our first graders. So we saw wait lists anywhere from, I would say like 10 to 15 on average for each week. And then as we go through each week, we see enrollments change. People will pull their camp things. We're typically very involved in passing through that list to try to get people to fill those spaces as they become available.
Does enrollment, how much capacity are you limited by with staffing? So when you're going into determining your numbers, is it change year to year? Are you hitting a target? Are you saying, okay, we think we can accommodate this many? Is that increasing year over year? Are you wishing you had more that you could accommodate?
So primarily the way that we're looking at our accommodation is on our staff ratio. Legally, we're at a 1-to-15 ratio. So that opens up a lot of capacity opportunity when we have a full staff. But we run our programs at a 1-to-8 ratio. And that's just the way that we have continued to.
That's what works.
So it's what works and it's good for our staff and everybody else. But
Yeah, I'll pop in here. The state licensing requirements is 1-to-15. The quality requirements are 1-to-8. So anywhere around that 1-to-8 is just going to be better for everybody involved.
That's perfect. That's what I was after. Thank you.
Yep.
So I've got a question. So do you guys find yourself at capacity and having to turn people away, or you guys found a happy medium in the community?
Over the last, since I've been here over the last several years, the programs themselves have grown in capacity year after year. And I think there's something to be said for the kind of post-COVID return to normal that we're seeing at the moment, where our capacity, I think, just as people has expanded. And that has also allowed us to continue to have staff. We're not losing staff, so we're upping our numbers.
I guess an easier way is, do you have to turn people away?
Yeah, for sure.
You do. Okay. Yeah, because my family has used and abused this.
Yeah.
They just finally aged out of a lot of this stuff, but your guys' programs saved my marriage.
That's the list.
And I just, right?
Counseling.
But it's near and dear to my heart, as Allison Hill is. And I just look at, we want to get numbers from, we want to get the youth programs to 50 to 80. And I just don't want to lose that, because that for young families, so important in this community. We talk about early childhood development, childcare, things like that. Is you guys, killed it with my kids growing up. And I just want to make sure that we don't lose that with trying to get a bigger percentage,
Totally.
out of the programs, right? I know that we want to make money off them. We have to, but that's one of those things that I don't want things to get left by the wayside, because I know what it meant to my family. And I guess just on the piggyback on that, the scholarship. So how do you guys advertise those? Is it just through first impressions, or do you guys, is there other outreach programs you guys do for those scholarships, and do you find them all used, I guess?
We don't do specific outreach for scholarships. It's available on our website and through the registration program repeatedly as you're doing it. As if you need tuition assistance, please apply for a scholarship. The scholarships typically don't get used. So we also have an employee discount. So city employees receive 20% off. That's being highly utilized right now. The scholarships themselves aren't always used up. The CCAP tuition assistance is a much larger pool of money that people are drawing from. So we use a very small fraction of that.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess I'm just wondering, is that money that's in the big pool, or is that scholarship money sitting in its own account and
Restricted to scholarships.
It's part of the general fund. It's just considered a not to use the word discount, but people apply for it. We have it budgeted $10,000 for the school year and $10,000 for the summer. And so we can apply that to any family member for any program that's eligible for a scholarship.
Do you guys get a lot of campers from out of town, like people that are visiting, utilizing, like people come visit for a week and the parents just want to send their kids to camp? Is that like a common thing that's happening?
You'll see it in the summer, but it's not super common.
Okay.
Yeah.
I sort of have a question on enrollment too. Does it sort of fill up immediately as soon as it opens?
10 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories of people
When I started here, so my first year was summer of '96, just to date myself a little bit. And we used to, when we had paper enrollments, we would have a line out the Parks and Rec door. People would set up tents outside on the walkway to be able to get their kids into camp. And now with online enrollment, we just kind of sit back and we watch the computer just change the first couple of seconds and the first couple of minutes. It still fills up very quickly.
Okay, that's great that they're so popular and so sought after. And I'm happy to hear that there's some plans to expand and increase it.
but we don't want to lose the quality of the program.
Absolutely, 100%. It's great.
I guess if no one else has a question, I do. What's a fun Friday?
Fun Friday. A fun Friday is it's just a full day field trip. We get kids dropped off at either the Soda Creek location or sometimes at the lodge or sometimes at the ice rink. And we will take them out for a full, that 8 to 5:30 time frame. We're just going off site somewhere. So that's where we have those trips, like where we take them down into the Fulford Caves, and that's a 2-hour drive away. So we give some time to get them there, get them back, and all those components. But a lot of it is just whatever one-day activity ideas our coordinators come up with, and seem like within reasonable distance. Yeah.
And all the like registration, how soon does it open up, like before the camps? Like, is there a 2-week window, a month window?
Calder, how old is your oldest right now?
4.
Okay.
It's just
Sounds like
just on the yeah.
Personal programming going on.
I think registration opens in late March
Okay.
for the summer program.
Do commissioners get a priority?
Will your child be going into kindergarten in the fall?
I think next fall. So
So they're eligible once they're entering kindergarten in the fall.
perfect. Great. Thank you.
The session for registration is February 13th. And then I believe our summer registration is March, 20 something. Yeah, we try to have all that information available at least on the city website a week before registration happens.
Okay. You got to keep up on the website.
Yep.
Fantastic. Any other questions? Let's check in with Shay too, see if.
By the
No
way, that
question
cool
for me.
hat.
Thank you.
Okay.
That cool hat we made is one of the camps for this summer.
Fun.
It's one of the craft
Right.
camps.
How do
So
I sign up?
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I believe that brings us any public comment on that on here or in line. Not seeing any. That'll bring us to our next agenda item, Parks and Recreation Commission communication form, Emerald Park space use, alterations, update, and discussion.
Good evening, Commissioners. Matt Barnard, your Development Manager. I was going to be co-presenting tonight with Stephanie Monroe, but she's fallen ill. So I'm going to cover, she's got a couple brief points for me to cover on her behalf. Also joining us tonight online is Jennifer McNeil with the Yampa River Botanic Park. Also in the audience tonight is some Yampa River Botanic Park board members. And I think we also have Steamboat Springs Soccer Club joining us online. These folks have been part of our newly established Emerald Park user group that we have. This evening, I want to kind of talk on the Emerald Park fence line update and the Yampa River Botanic Park expansion discussion. The purpose of this topic is to provide the Parks and Rec Commission with an update on Emerald Park fence line adjustments and the Yampa River Botanic Park Master Plan Expansion Initiative, including recent stakeholder engagements and potential impacts on park use. A little bit of background on how we got started and give you some feedback from our user group. Following last summer, staff has sat down with each of our user groups and kind of just debriefed how the season went and got some feedback from them, and just kind of some takeaways from that. From those discussions, the Emerald Park projects have also been really a front-running topic point just on how we're going to schedule the timelines, the park use, how the fields will be used, and future capital improvement projects at the site. As a result, staff has formally established an Emerald Park user group stakeholder forum modeled much after the House and Hill User Group Stakeholder Forum. The user group involved in this forum is the Yampa River Botanic Park, Steamboat Springs, or Steamboat Soccer Club, Steamboat Baseball, Steamboat Springs, School District High School Baseball, and Triple Crown Sports. A key outcome of this group is to foster a shared interest in the park use and maintain regular engagement among other users to support a collaborative planning and especially an important project schedule as we go through the next couple seasons. We held the kickoff meeting in November of last year where we discussed current and future Emerald Park capital improvement projects and overall park access. During that kickoff meeting, staff provided necessary park updates and capital improvement projects, including the irrigation replacement project, the Public Works sanitary sewer interceptor line installation, the Xcel Energy high-pressure gas line project, and the Emerald Park playground renovation project. During the kickoff meeting, Yampa River Botanic Park introduced initiatives from the Yampa River Botanic Park's master plan adopted in 2023, which included a proposed expansion of the Botanic Park's fence line to the north into the soccer fields. This park alteration prompted further discussion of the park's layout and the surrounding areas of use, which then prompted staff to hold a joint meeting with city staff, the Parks and Rec Commission, user group liaison, Glenn Davis, or Commissioner Davis, the Steamboat Springs Soccer Club, and the Yampa River Botanic Park Board and staff members on December 4th of 2025. During this specialized user group meeting, we discussed the park's layout and each stakeholder's use. At the meeting, we learned the important information from both groups, kind of what everybody's concepts and ideas were that they wanted to carry forward as we talked about kind of re-envisioning that park space. Steamboat Soccer Club and staff agreed on what an appropriate size field would be out there, both for the 11v11 and the 9v9 fields. The soccer club also expressed that reducing the field size to anything less than what we had discussed would really hinder how they were programming those fields and the recreation that happened on those. The Botanic Park initial concept was to move the existing fence line 70 feet. During this meeting, the Yampa River Botanic Park agreed that a 50-foot would be a suitable number that still allowed them to envision their master plan concepts that they had. At the December 4th meeting, we reached consensus. The Parks and Recreation's next step would be for the development team and Landmark Engineering, who had been working on the Botanic Park's concept plan, to kind of meet offline and just kind of work through the numbers and see what we could do to fit these concepts together. The whole group reconvened on December 15th and staff provided an update concept plan to the group and a recommendation. I'll be going over that very shortly here with you and kind of see what the recommendation is. The alterations to the park are due to the Botanic Park's expansion, and so the expectation that the Yampa River Botanic Park will fund the expansions and the changes to the park. Next steps include a site plan to the entire user group stakeholder meeting, which will be tomorrow, and then also inform the Parks and Rec Commission and City Council and continued stakeholder engagement. So let's just kind of get into what we're talking about here. This is one of our first meetings that we held as we all came together and kind of just shared our concepts. I think we're just pouring over a set of plans and talking about the dimensions that everybody was kind of desiring for their outcomes. What we're looking at here, and I hope you can look at it a little bit closer on your screen, if you can orientate yourself on the left side of the screen is where the Botanic Park is, and we're kind of looking at a median space. We talked about 50 feet. It's up to 50 feet. None of the lines that exist between the parking lot and the Botanic Park are actually parallel to each other. And so there is some converging points on there that we needed to address. So Up by the main entrance to the Botanic Park right now, we are able to shift the fence line 50 feet, but then as you kind of work your way towards the river, that dimension shrinks a little bit and it goes down to a 46-foot expansion of that fence line down there, just to kind of keep the shapes that we currently have in there. If you look really close at the center of those soccer fields where the circles are, there is kind of just like an echo from where the lines have been painted on previous years as we kind of overlaid this site plan into the new line work that's on there right now. You can kind of see where those center lines have shifted towards the park. Patrick, who is our new Parks and Rec project manager, actually came up with a concept of, I guess once we got to the table with Landmark, Patrick and myself, it just worked out. We didn't have enough space to actually produce the field sizes that we wanted and then also give the Botanic Park the 50 feet that they wanted. And so something had to give. There was a pressure point in there that we had to figure out something. And it was Patrick's idea to actually reduce the physical size of the parking lot along the field side boundary. That parking lot had oversized parking spaces in it. The new city standard for parking spaces is actually 9 by 18. And I don't want anybody to get worried about that we're going to shrink those spaces too small. We're using those all over town right now. The new design of the city hall and fire station, those are 9 by 18 spaces. Steamboat Springs High School has always been 9 by 18. Steamboat Springs UC Health, Yampa Valley Medical Center is 9 by 18. Steamboat Springs Christian Center is 9 by 18. Ski Times Square is 9 by 18. Old Town Hot Spring is actually 9 by 16, which was allowed by ordinance. So that's even smaller than what our standard city minimum is. So his idea of shrinking those parking spaces down to what is pretty much the accepted standard here in town is really what kind of just gave us the opening for this. It allowed us to trim off some existing asphalt, so actually reduce our asphalt size. It also allowed us to net about 29 additional parking spaces in that parking lot by just shrinking those spaces and shifting everything. Everything kind of shifts towards the north a little bit as the depth of those spots went from a 20-foot space to an 18-foot space. So that parking lot will see a grinding of all those paint lines out there. We'll restripe that parking lot. All those positions will be shifted, which nets another 29 spaces, which is a really happy accident that's kind of come out of this project. We are keeping the standard field dimensions between all of our fields consistent. Those are going to be the 20-foot buffers we've known and kind of grown to understand that that's a normal space for us. Also on this dimension, you can kind of see the line work of where the playground expansion will be to the west of the parking lot. And it's just really great that we're able to fit everything in there. We're still we're adding a walking path against the outside of the Botanic Park gate, which gives us access ultimately over to the core trail. And then right off the parking lot, which we've never had before, just a more public access. We're putting in a sidewalk on that side of the parking lot. It will be a raised sidewalk, so we'll actually have a parking buffer. So as you bring your car into it, you can nose your wheels right into the front of that thing. We still have an 8-foot sidewalk. That landscape berm and the trees that we're currently used to right now out there will go away. That area will become field space. It'll also become that buffer space between the parking lot and the fields that will house the sidewalk improvement. We are losing a lot of existing shade. So part of our conversations with the Yampa River Botanic Park has been, we need to put in some permanent shade. Of course, we're going to put some trees back in that buffer space, but the time that it takes for those trees to mature will be, decades before we get what we have out there right now. So we've agreed to put in some permanent shade shelters along that side that will provide instant shade as we open up that change to these amenities. Just want to talk a little bit about schedule and what is going to be happening over there over the next couple of years. We've really kind of boiled down this to just a really simple look, but starting at the top, our playground construction really is looking to take up most of the summer next year with the civil improvements for the drainage we've talked about previously at that site, May through September. That project has been bid. We're hoping a contractor will have numbers into us and we'll be awarding that project in early February of this year. The irrigation design for the park irrigation actually has started right now. I've kind of got it shown that it's starting in February, but we've already started that design in January here and hoping to have a project ready for bidding in early spring of 2026. And then our irrigation construction, we really were planning on most of that work happening in 2027, but with the alterations and the shift of the Botanic Park, we really need to have that site ready at the beginning of 2027 to put in that many acres of irrigation. And so that berm work, I'm kind of showing that happening in that October, November timeframe of 2026, the removal of those trees, the removal of those berms. We need to remediate those roots that also live underneath there and get that back, do some fill material back in that area after we remove all those roots underneath there so the fields won't settle in the future. That way, when we start our irrigation project in May of 2027, we're going to hit the ground running and we can start attacking those areas right away. We do have some strange constraints that we've talked about before with the Xcel Energy high-pressure gas line and then Public Works sanitary sewer interceptor lines. So we need to have all areas ready for irrigation installation because we're really going to be hopping that around and doing things in short phases in 2027 to get that work completed in time. The Xcel Energy gas line is also going to be an early installation for us in 2027. I've got them scheduled for May to June. Really, we're probably looking at a 30-day window, but we're just kind of finalizing some dates with them. Public Works sanitary sewer interceptor, they need to wait for the water table to become a little bit lower, so they're not starting until after the 4th of July. We are still looking at approximately 8 weeks of installation time. They're doing a 24-inch sanitary sewer interceptor that's anywhere from 5 to 8 feet in depth, 1,100 linear feet through the park. So it's going to have a pretty big impact and a pretty big scar as it goes through there. Turf reclamation will happen at the end, obviously, after we've installed all of that infrastructure. So we're really targeting the September on October timeframe of 2027. And then irrigation commissioning, where we actually started up and program all the zones, would be in the tail end of October. Just wanted to throw in some pictures and remind you of the Emerald Park Playground. We presented on this last time you saw me here in front of you, but this is also a project that we are scheduled for and pushing for in 2026. Irrigation project, again, I just wanted to touch, it's 18 acres of irrigated turf, fully fused, high-density polyethylene pipe. Our budget for that project is just over $1.8 million. And that'll also address the intake screen for our raw water system that lives in the Yampa River right now. We've historically had some pretty big problems with that intake screen clogging with just botanic matter, and we're going to try to address that with this project as well. This shows the 24-inch sanitary sewer line that cuts through Dudley all the way through the ball fields and then basically ends right before you get to the Botanic Park. That's that green line. Again, it's a 5 to an 8 foot bury depth. Xcel Energy's gas line, I'm kind of showing you their initial concept line here. So the blue line is what they originally started with. And if you can kind of orientate yourself with that, that is going through the patio of the Trillium House. And that just wasn't acceptable for us. The first time we saw this, it was almost shocking to us that they were going to propose that. So we immediately tried to get them to move their alignment out into the sports fields. I'm just representing that with the orange line that is on that field, just showing where they've agreed to move it for us. And ultimately they're adding more pipe length because they still need to get back to a certain crossing point where they're going to head up Emerald with that as well. Any questions about where we're going?
Quick question. I think there was maybe going to be an entrance from the core trail over that gas line, like from where it follows the river. Is that correct?
An entrance to the core trail. So
yeah, like in order to get to that park from the core trail, you go around and then come back through the neighborhood.
Yep.
But for some reason, I think, and I could be wrong, that when the gas line went in, that there was going to be kind of an entrance over the top of that, like a soft surface trail. Is that correct? Or I can't remember.
I don't think so, but with this new trail that's going to come down the edge of the expansion of the Botanic Park fence and the ball field, we have a corridor in there of 20 feet that we will have a soft surface trail that goes all the way from the entrance of the Botanic Park to the core trail. Is that?
That's probably what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That is currently in our plan and our scope.
Okay, cool.
I was curious about the same thing. I know that there have been instances where, I guess, is there going to be the core trail there is narrow and there's some blind spots and there's a lot of vegetation. And I'm just curious if that access is going to impact some of that core trail area, or if that's been considered as part of that.
We haven't gone out on site. This is a concept plan right now. Wherever we make that T intersection, we'll make sure we have good, clear sight lines. But I honestly haven't been out site and just looked at what material and stuff we have to deal with. But yeah, we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Had a couple of incidents where people access the core trail through those fields, and it's surprisingly there's a lot of vegetation and it's surprisingly blind. So
agreed.
Just a thought. Thanks.
Is that trail that you're representing, that's the red line, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I think that's kind of where it looks like illegal crossing and people going there through the ball fields, but
yeah,
cool.
The red line is actually utility. It's the dark
Yeah, that's the soft
area right next to it is the trail, but the red line's a good
Gotcha.
eye catcher.
That's great.
So the Botanical Park's picking up the tab for doing everything, for moving the fence line out, parking lot work, all that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Another question is, what are the impacts going to be on the soccer fields in 2026?
In 2026, probably just when I looked at my schedule, the end of the season there, the October and November timeframes, when we need to remove the berm, we're going to probably do some shuffling of the fields. If possible, we would love to close that field that's adjacent to the parking lot. If that's not possible with scheduling, we're just going to schedule our construction and basically the demolition work to happen, between like 7 and 3 before anybody starts. Those fields get occupied, I think at like 3:30.
But they'll be able to be utilized all through 2026 with anything we're doing?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And then 2027, what are we looking at is there any mitigation we can do for the fields that are going to be lost for the soccer clubs?
We do have a plan that we've kind of gone over with the soccer clubs on how we would move things around. But yeah, in 2027, the fields will totally be out of commission as we replace that entire irrigation system, and those other 2 utilities also cross, in different directions on there. 2027 is going to be super, super busy out there with just infrastructure and then getting that irrigation back online. All those laterals will be buried out to those fields for all the pop-up heads. I mean, there's nothing that can be offered in 27 as far as field use.
A lot of projects happening at once. You guys are doing a good job of kind of streamlining it and getting it all, if it's going to be out of commission, you got to do as much as you can.
The plan's definitely coming together, I think.
To highlight Matt's explanation for other offerings for 2027, well, we won't be able to support any field programs at Emerald Park in 2027. Staff have worked on plans to shift to other fields in town. And that, when I looked at it, we're able to cover probably 70 or 80% of the current usage at other locations. So people won't be totally out of luck, but everybody will need to give and bend a bit.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was, the Ski Town fields, my kids play a lot of soccer. That's one of the reasons I'm interested in it. The other thing is I've been over at the Ski Town fields, and I'm just looking at utilizing all of our outdoor space, and the diamonds over there. I've never seen anybody play over there, and there's just weeds growing up through there. I guess on that note too, is like, just with space that we have and, to utilize, is that getting utilized? The baseball diamonds over there.
I'm a hard person to answer that question. I don't do any of that programming.
Lights are on a lot when I drive by.
Yeah.
I'd also, we've talked about it a lot with some of the user groups, and I see many soccer representatives online. One of the biggest challenges we have as recreation professionals in this town with not enough amenities or park space is certain user groups saying, hey, these guys don't utilize this area. Mine needs more important. For example, I'm a volleyball player. I would love to look at Howelson and say, those tennis pickleball courts aren't utilized heavily. Take them out and put in 6 volleyball courts. We hear a lot of that. So we do have different metrics. Our administrative staff give us lots of data on what fields are reserved, scheduled, and we look at all of that when we take space use into consideration.
Yeah, I just see a lot of time and effort put into, ice sheets and everything else. And soccer is one of the biggest sports in the world, and I just want to make sure that here in Ski Town, USA for, it's not a game that, it's a lot of third world countries that play it. Every kid, has got a ball on their foot. And I just want to make sure that we're spending time, looking at those things besides second sheets of ice and volleyball courts and pickleball courts and all this other stuff. Is our community's changing, and we kind of got to, take a look at that and change with it.
There was a pretty significant donation for the soccer fields from the Lockharts recently out at Heritage Park. So that's also looking up as well. Any further questions for Matt?
Is the playground going to be open in 2027, and like the parking lot for access to the Botanic, is that going to get messed with?
Correct. We will be doing probably like a phased approach at all that grinding and restriping that we talked about. Yes, because the playground will be open. We expect that to be, in its first year, that's going to be the most popular spot. The Botanic Park will be open through all of this construction, so we'll always keep the at least half of the parking lot open.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Matt. That was great.
Thanks, guys.
It's a big project. You guys are doing a great job. Do we have any public comment on our current presentation? All right.
Nice to
Kathy.
meet you all. I'm Kathy Cannell, and I'm president of the Botanic Park. I just want to tell you, this has been almost a first for Steamboat, and the fact that we have gotten user groups and like the soccer club and Botanic Park and the city and everyone together to really work on a solution so that this park is for the community, not just soccer, not just Botanic Park, not just softball. So we're really excited about the cooperation. I want to give kudos to the city staff. Stephanie Monroe, who's not here, it was her idea to get the meetings together so we could collaborate. Where we started and where we are, totally different things. And to me, the big deal is the communication. So we look at Emerald Park not just for soccer, but for our community. And I think the way we are looking at things and trying to design it, there's more to come in the future. We will really be able to serve our community who loves this park in many ways, not just for scheduled field use. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.
Great place to bring your four-legged friends as well. Yes.
Just one last thing. One of the things that we are proposing and looking at is a walking trail all around the perimeter of the Emerald Park. So then when there's families that have their dogs or what have you, or people or in the winter snowshoes, that we've got that. And of course, this brings another user group in who will help financially, like putting up boot bag dispensers, that famous Steamboat Digs dogs. So we think this is a really neat collaborative effort. So thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment tonight? Thank you, Kathy. All right, that will bring us to the close of that topic discussion and bring us to our closing agenda items, which are upcoming agenda items, and which looks like February 11th is a Haymaker update.
Calder, could we double check to see if there's any public comment online?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry, we moved so fast. I didn't check to see if anybody had their hand raised.
I'm not I'm not seeing any.
I'm not either.
Um,
So, okay, maybe I'm,
give everybody one more second, just in case anybody's tuning in the digital world. Okay. All right, that'll close our agenda items for tonight and bring us to upcoming agenda items or updates on city council meetings, any of that and closing remarks.
awesome. Thank you. I have a few director updates for you. Wanted to give you a heads up. At the last two city council meetings, there's been a discussion about boards and commissions attendance. So I just wanted to give you a very light heads up in case you're contacted by city councilors in the future. It started with a public comment, I believe, surrounding the Planning Commission. So not about Parks and Rec Commission whatsoever. But from there, City Council requested attendance reports for all boards and commissions, which city staff provided. And at a recent City Council meeting, council discussed the city code, which dictates if a commissioner or council member misses 3 or more consecutive meetings, they could be removed from the board or commission. It doesn't mean they have to be. City council, based on that conversation, I think there was numerous individuals across the city. They discussed that they would start probably giving some phone calls or just a, hey, courtesy heads up, where you been? You still interested in this committee? So just wanted to give you that heads up to you. In the past, we really haven't historically managed it that closely, but it will start being managed closer. So just wanted to give you a general heads up on that. Other updates for you in the Howelson Hill realm. We had 2 unfortunate infrastructure failures over the holidays. One with our PAMA lift. Staff are testing it now, so we're actually expecting it to open very soon, but it has been closed since right before New Year's. And then also with our snowmaking pump. It was rebuilt 2 years ago. It is end of life, and it was a big smoky mess New Year's Day. We, our staff has been extremely creative and altered our park irrigation pump, which is designed to spread water horizontally versus vertically to begin Winter Carnival snowmaking. So if you go to Howelson right now, you'll notice some very large piles of snow. So if you hear word of, well, they can't make snow, yes, they are. It's because we're using our park irrigation pump. It's working very well. We also took this matter to City Council because it does come at an extra cost in bringing on staff for snowmaking later in the year. But Council gave us quick direction that yes, having snow for Winter Carnival is worth the investment. Get it done. So we are, for the first time, actually utilizing potable water as well and pulling off of a fire hydrant. Because with our warm temperatures, snowmaking availability is so much less than it typically is. But big kudos to our staff for getting creative and finding solutions to those things. But along the snowmaking pump update, you may recall from our budget update a few meetings ago, there is a big capital improvement project, phase 1, planned for this summer. For our Howelson Hill snowmaking infrastructure. So the timing of it actually works out that we'll be able to replace this pump and incorporate it into all of that new infrastructure. We wish it would have held on a few more months though. So that's the updates I have for you. Also from some of your conversations tonight, as we look at future meetings, I'll be talking with staff about getting, once we're probably a few more meetings in with our second sheet of ice negotiating team, I'd like to bring you guys an update as we're nearing close to entering an agreement there to share some of those highlights and what we're looking at, as well as we talked about at the beginning of the meeting, working with our Nordic community for a more thorough update there too.
Fantastic.
Anything from the commission or anything you'd like to see on future upcoming agendas?
We got a good trajectory.
We do.
Yes. Okay. Any further commissioner updates? Doesn't look like it. We'll go ahead and bring the meeting to a close. All in favor, motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. That motion carries. We're staying for another hour. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys all next month.